So somebody sent me this question and I decided to solve it for every one of you. So let's read the question on the board. The solubility of copper sulfate at 100 degree is 50 gram in 100 gram of water and at 20 degree in 5 gram. If 120 gram of saturated solution at 100 degree is cooled to 20 degree, calculate the mass of copper crystal or copper crystal. Now, as you can see now, they're talking about solubility in this question. So this question must be from chemistry. Of course, it is from chemistry. So now, what is solubility? Let me just define solubility before I start solving question. Solubility of a solute. When talking about solubility, number one, there must be solute, and then there must be solvent, and the third one, there must be a temperature tagged. There must be specific temperature. So now solubility of a solute is the maximum, listen, the maximum, the highest number of solute that will dissolve completely or that will saturate a solvent at a particular temperature. So now, if I have 20 gram of common salt, the salt you use at home. So now, if I dissolve this 20 gram of salt in let's say 100 gram of water. So number one, there must be a specific temperature, let's say at 40 degrees centigrade. So now, if I dissolve this 20 gram of salt in 100 gram of water at 40 degrees centigrade, so if this water can dissolve this 20 gram of salt completely, it can dissolve it completely, that it cannot admit or dissolve any excess or any additional salt again. So this solution is called saturated solution. And the solubility of this salt, sodium chloride, will be called 20 gram per, this one, you convert this one to dm cube, that would be 0.1. So that would be what? That would be 2 gram per dm cube. So that would be the what? The solubility of this sodium chloride, because solubility is expressed in gram per dm cube or mole per dm cube. So now you get me now. So let me just explain this before I solve this question so that I can understand very well. So now, this 20 gram will dissolve completely in this water at this temperature, to an extent that this water can no longer contain or dissolve any additional salt again. At that point, that solution is saturated. It cannot contain any additional salt again. So, but it can still contain salt again if I increase the temperature. That is why when you are talking about solubility, there must be a specific temperature for it. So now, if I increase this temperature to 100, this water will still dissolve more solute, because the increase in the temperature of the solution increases the solubility. The decrease in the temperature of solution also decrease the solubility. Are you getting my point now? That means that if this water and this temperature can contain or dissolve only 20 gram of salt, and if I now pour 50 gram, if the capacity of this, listen to the capacity of this temperature and the capacity of this water can dissolve only 20 gram. If I now pour 50 gram of salt, if I pour 50 gram of salt, this water and this temperature will only dissolve only 20 gram. They will dissolve 20 gram out of it. Solubility means, soluble means something to dissolve. So that the remaining 30, the excess 30, they will remain as crystal. They will not dissolve. You see them at the bottom of that baby bucket. They will precipitate. That's the word. They will precipitate at the bottom of that water. So now let's solve the question now. So now in this question, we were given 50 gram of copper sulfate in 100 gram of water, right? Let me say, okay, of H2O at 100 degree. Are we together? 100 degrees centigrade. Then another one at 5 grams of this copper sulfate again in 100 grams of H2O at 20 degrees. So now what this information is telling us that the first solution, the first reaction, 50 grams of salt of copper sulfate, which is a salt, is dissolved in 100 grams of water completely. That solution, I've said, it is called saturated solution at 100 degrees centigrade. Are you listening now? So now they now reduced that temperature. They reduced that temperature to 20, and I told you that the reducing the temperature of solution also what? Also reduces the solubility, the ability, it reduces the ability of that water or that solvent to absorb or dissolve solute. So now this thing has been reduced to 20 now. They have destroyed life. So it will now what? It will now precipitate excess solute that has dissolved. So now this has now been reduced to 20. So you can see it can now only dissolve 5 grams because the temperature has reduced. So this temperature 20 degree can now dissolve 5, but 100 degree can dissolve 50 because the increase in temperature increased the solubility of um solution. Now we have gotten this now. So in this case now we are going to calculate something here. So we are going to calculate the amount of solute. Listen, we are going to calculate the amount of solute that will be precipitated if temperature is reduced to 20 degrees from 100 to 20 degrees. How can we do that? We are going to please I want to gain something from this video. Please pay attention to this video. Please just pay attention very well. I'm going to calculate the quantity of solute or copper sulfate salt that will be precipitated if 50 grams at 100 is being reduced, if the temperature is reduced to 20 degrees. So how many parts of this dissolved 50 grams will precipitate again, will become solid again? So now we're not going to add this one together. You know, the separate masses of salt and then of this water is 50 and 100. So now I'm going to calculate the total mass of the what? Of the solution at 100 degrees. Total mass of solution of copper sulfate at 100, right? At 100 degrees is what? Is 50 plus 1 from 500, that's 150 grams. Am I right? So this one too at 20 degrees, total mass of at what? At 20. Are you getting my point, please? That will be what? That will be 100 plus 5. That will be 105 grams. And I told you that if you want to know the amount of solute that we precipitate if the temperature is reduced to 20 degrees, we are going to find the addition of the solutions of this salt, or I mean of these solutions at 100 degrees, and then this one, and we are going to remove it from each others. We are going to remove 105 from this one to get the amount of solute that will be precipitated. Now that will be amount of solute that will be precipitated from 100 to 20. That will be what? That will be 150 minus what? Minus 105. That will be what? That will be 45 grams of what? Of CuSO4. Abi? CuSO4 what? Crystal. So, are you getting my point, please? So now, we are going to use this information now to calculate the real question. Now, the question now says that If 120 gram of saturated solution, now they are telling us now that the combined mass of the solute and solvent is 120 gram. Saturated solution at 100 degree is cool to 20. Calculate the mass of copper sulfate crystal. Now, we're not going to use the information we have gotten here to calculate the answer of that one, which is what? If I don't know if you see it there, let me just clean the board here so that we can um so that we can see it very well. So if 150 gram of CuSO4 at 100 degree can precipitate what? 45 gram 45 gram of um CuSO4 crystal. So how many mass of CuSO4 will 120 gram of saturated solution will precipitate? 120 gram of CuSO4 solution. Are you getting me now? They are both at 100 degrees centigrade. X gram. So we are going to calculate. It is now simple. We are going to cross multiply. That will be x gram equal to what? Cross multiply. This one goes to this one. This one to move to this side. That will be what? That will be 45 times 120 all over what? All over this one 150, which is equal to what? 36 gram of what? Of CuSO4 crystal or crystal. So that's the answer. I hope you get this solution very well. Please, if you don't get it, please write it in the comment section very much. Please like this video and follow me because I'll be dropping a lot of tips about Jamb and I'll be dropping lectures video as well. Thank you very much.